Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. I have 5 value wide receivers for you. We did a video like this about a month and a half ago. I'm going to update it for you now with my 5 top value wide receivers in the month of July. We're going to do another update on this as training camp opens in August and everything kind of moves around and ADPs shift. Some of these players have moved up in ADP. Some of these players have seen other players around them move up or down. That's created a little bit of a vacuum of value. And so we're going to try and find that value that's been vacated so that we can fill it with our picks, give ourselves a better chance to win in these best ball drafts or season-long drafts that you are doing. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Drop a like on the video. The share option really helps a lot right now based on the YouTube algorithm. So if you would be kind enough to click that share button, post it on your Facebook page or anywhere else, that would be greatly, or text it to a friend, would be greatly appreciated. Appreciate all the love on the new fantasy football channel. We're going to keep posting on this channel all the way up until the season starts. And then there will be even some in-season videos that will be on this channel as well. So thank you guys for being here, and let's go.
He's a legend.
My favorite place to play best ball in the offseason is Underdog Fantasy. If you have a new account or you're making a new account, use promo code ALSMIZZLE, ALSMIZZLE, all one word, gets you a $100 deposit match on your first deposit to the site. They have best ball drafts going at all different price levels. They just opened up the Great Dane, which is bigger than the Bulldog, which was a $500 entry fee. This is a $1,000 entry fee, 12-team draft, 100K in prizes. 108 entrants, so this one's going to fill pretty quickly. The Puppy 2 is already filled. They're going to have a Puppy 3 at some point. They had a super flex draft, and the big one is the Best Ball Mania tournament. $10 million in prizes, $25 to enter, $2 million to first, $1 million to second, $1 million if you're the highest scoring team at the end of the 14-week regular season. So let's check this out, and obviously use my promo code if you wanted to help support the channel. The first wide receiver on my value list is Jeudy. Now, before, like when we did this the last time, Courtland Sutton was being drafted about a half a round behind Jeudy. He has skyrocketed past Jeudy and is into like an ADP at like the end of the third round at the 3-4 turn. An ADP around 36 at this point, leaving Jeudy as the better value pick with an ADP currently of 47 and the wide receiver 21 off the board. It's become almost impossible unless you're willing to reach by a round or a half a round on Courtland Sutton to be able to pair Jeudy, Sutton, and Russ Wilson like we were doing earlier in draft season, but it's still possible to use those Russ Wilson stacks. You're just going to have to pick between Sutton or Jeudy, and in my opinion, when there's projectable volume that's very similar, and I don't think that Sutton's going to have like a 30% market share of targets and Judy's going to have like a 17%, I think that they're going to be extremely similar. I hate using this comparison, but like the comparison that a lot of people are using is DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Sutton could be the DK Metcalf of the Denver Broncos for Russ Wilson, and Jeudy could be the Tyler Lockett. What we're looking for is a projectable floor of volume. I'm thinking around 20% to 23% of the target market share in Denver. And then on top of that, he's going to be running the lower A-dot routes. He is able to get downfield, but he is a route runner who's going to operate closer to the line of scrimmage, which is going to give Russ Wilson that safety blanket approach with big play, big splash ability thrown in on top of it. So splash weeks possible. He was very unlucky the last couple of years with injuries. We're going to see if he can stay healthy this year, but with an ADP of 47 right now, Jeudy is a fantastic value play. My second value at the position, Juju SmithSchuster. Now, there's a lot of non-believers, but as a wide receiver 27 off the board with an ADP of 57 and projected to be the #1 outside target for one Patrick Mahomes, yeah, I'm going to buy on Juju SmithSchuster in this Chiefs offense. Now, I need y'all to understand this. It's not a one-to-one change-out. This is not Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom, where we're going to have the little golden idol that we're going to swap out Tyreek Hill for Juju SmithSchuster. That's just not happening. It's not a one-to-one swap in this spot. But Travis Kelce is going to get a large amount of the target of the market share in Kansas City, but he's 31, 32 years old. He's not going to get 30% of the target market share, probably 20 to 23%, which leaves Juju SmithSchuster with the ability to rack up targets in an extremely high-powered, potent offense with other players. Yeah, there's depth in that receiving core. They drafted Sky Moore. They picked up MVS, but neither of those guys project as a 20+% target market share guy. They're more around the 15%. So Juju SmithSchuster, if he can stay healthy, which is basically, look, it's the NFL, right? So like anybody is has the caveat of if they can stay healthy. Smith-Schuster is somebody who can easily pay off this price tag that he has as a 57 ADP and the 27th wide receiver off the board. It's not unlikely that he could end the season as a top 15 wide receiver with multiple double-digit touchdowns, multiple touchdown games a couple of times, over 1,000 yards receiving, and a very real possibility of 75, 80 catches on the year. Now, that's not ridiculous numbers. Those are extremely modest numbers, right? So that's going to pay off this price tag. The fact that he is sitting that low is just because of the public perception, right? The TikTok videos, does he take it seriously? Is he injury prone? What he did with Pittsburgh the last year or two, but like he did that with a 76-year-old Ben Roethlisberger who struggled to throw the ball past 25 yards down the field. Now he does not have that problem anymore in a much more high-powered offense that is going to take shots in a ridiculous division where they're going to have team totals above 27, 28 every single week. If that many touchdowns are going to be scored, a lot of them are going to be scored by Juju Smith-Schuster from Patrick Mahomes. So this price tag is entirely too cheap still at this point, and I expect it to rise. If you're doing best ball drafts right now, buy before the August helium happens, right? Like when camp opens and they play preseason games and people realize how many times Juju Smith-Schuster is on the field and he's the primary outside wide receiver, they're going to wake up and this ADP could move into the well into the fourth round with like a ADP of 40. So a possible swing of 10 to 15 on the upswing here based on what you're paying right now. Elijah Moore, there's a lot of question marks, right? There's a lot of trepidation. I know that my podcast co-host Mike Clay does not agree with me that Elijah Moore is a big time value play, but I believe in the talent here. Now, did they draft an early high profile wide receiver? Yes, from Ohio State, but like Elijah Moore did it at the end of last season with 12 targets, 8 targets, 11 targets, 8 targets in week 9. He is a known commodity in this offense, and Zach Wilson, if nothing else, is going to be a guy who's going to target his receivers outside the hash marks. There is still a very professional Corey Davis on the other side. I expect Wilson to get on the field as well. I'm not expecting double-digit targets from Elijah Moore, but if we're drafting in best ball, and you have somebody who has the ability to get those short and intermediate routes, but the big play, big splash ability, coupled with a quarterback who wants to take shots down the field. Look at this, a catch of 29 yards, 22 yards, 62 yards, 25 yards, 26 yards. His ability to get open down the field and take those short routes a la OBJ. I'm not comparing him to Odell Beckham Jr., but like, remember the joke from the edge of, well, look, nobody is more likely to take a 6-yard slant 65 yards to the house. Elijah Moore kind of fits that role as well. I like this offense. I'm buying the Jets offense on the low at this point, expecting bigger things from them without saying that I think that, you know, Wilson's going to throw for 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. That would be absurd. I do think that he has the ability to throw for 4,200 to 4,500 yards with 25 plus touchdowns. And if he does that, Elijah Moore is going to be one of the biggest beneficiaries on that offense. Is Corey Davis, a very professional wide receiver. PFF grades obviously love him, but he does not have the game breaking ability of an Elijah Moore. And Wilson's got to figure it out. Although wide receivers have done a better job recently, I'm buying more of all the outside pass catchers on the Jets. My next value pick is Jameson Crowder, stepping into the slot role for the Buffalo Bills. Arguably the best passing offense in the league. You can say this other, you can say the Chiefs, you can say the Chargers, whatever. If you're not splitting hairs by saying the Bills are an extremely high-powered passing offense led by the unicorn Josh Allen. Right now, his ADP is 134. It's not costing you much. You're drafting him as like your wide receiver 5, wide receiver 6. Whether you are drafting him in your Josh Allen stacks, whether you're drafting him for best ball purposes, where you're saying, well, the Bills are playing team X, Y, and Z in week 15, 16, 17, and I have players from those teams and using him as a bring back for the playoff weeks to increase your lineup correlation, that's fine too. Or if you're drafting him as a one-off, as a solid volume play with spike week potential, let's look at the player who played that position last season for the Bills. It's Cole Beasley. Jameson Crowder is a better athlete than Cole Beasley and just as accomplished a route runner and wide receiver. Did Cole Beasley have enough splash weeks last year to kind of make this pay off? 15.4 against Tampa Bay in week 14, 11 against Jacksonville, 24, 21 here, 20.8 in that week. I mean, these are all really solid numbers for that position. It's not a player where you're going to get 8 to 12 targets, but anytime that the Bills face zone coverage, Josh Allen does tend to lean more on his slot receiver. And right now, that is going to go to, or that role is going to go to Jameson Crowder, entirely too cheap. Now, one more player off the reservation and not even on an NFL team right now is Will Fuller the fifth. I already know what you're going to say. He's always injured. He got injured last year. You liked him last. I liked him the year before too, when he got suspended in like week 12 or 13 for PED usage. But you know what? He was lighting the league up at that point. Now, the most possible or most probable landing spots for Will Fuller right now are the Baltimore Ravens opposite Rashad Bateman. A lot of vacated targets in that spot, although it's not a high volume pass game offense, but it would be a big splash play spot with Lamar Jackson connecting on long balls as much as he has in the past and subtracting his deep ball targeted Marquise Brown, or the Indianapolis Colts opposite Pittman, who everybody is targeting. Right now, they have like Paris Campbell on the other side. So Will Fuller would give Matt Ryan a downfield threat to go with everything else in that offense. And as much as safeties have to creep towards the line of scrimmage against both of those teams, the Baltimore Ravens running game on offense and the Indianapolis Colts with the 1.01 Jonathan Taylor, if Will Fuller signs with either of these teams, his current ADP is 187th overall, the 79th wide receiver off the board. You're drafting him as your wide receiver 7 or 8. I don't want to say he's free, but if he signs with either one of those teams, your profit potential is massive. Let's try and extrapolate and think about what would his ADP be if he, or where would he jump to if he signed with either one of those teams right now? He would probably be an 8th or a 9th rounder in your drafts. You're drafting him as like a 16th rounder right now. You could reach as high as 15, 14 if you just gotta have him. That's where I have him ranked on my rankings, but I'm buying him lower than that because the crowd has not caught up. But if and when he signs before camp or during camp, that ADP is going to skyrocket possibly 5, 6, 8 rounds. So I'm buying him on the low now with the possibility of massive upside down the road at a very low cost. So hopefully this video helped you. Drop a reply down below. Let me know who your favorite value wide receiver to draft is, and look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.